Hey everybody, welcome for another episode of Talent Talk, and thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Gary McLean, and if you haven't done so already, please do go to the Talent Talk YouTube channel and subscribe today. As always, the support is appreciated, and we're definitely trying to get those numbers to climb. So tell your friends about it if you enjoy the show, and let's get those numbers up. For this season, at least, we will later get on to the previous seasons, but right now we are also putting this season onto podcast mediums such as Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, just to name a few. If you'd like to know exactly where you can listen to them, check out the description details of this episode and a few of the previous episodes. Now, also a reminder that this is live and interactive. So if you want have any comments or questions or just want to say hi, throw it into the comments section and we will do our best to respond. That's part of the reason we do this live is we love to hear from you. So throw them in there. And now, today's guest. He is an Indian Canadian filmmaker who seems to have the Midas touch. And for those that might not know what the Midas touch is, seems like everything he touches turns to gold. Starts in 2015 when he started writing, directing, producing, and starring in the multi award winning short film Bonjour Ji. He was then granted funding through Telestory Hive to create a post apocalyptic short film, Don't Walk Among the Dead, among other short films and a documentary. He has now made the next leap to feature films with the Punjabi crime drama Range Road 290. This film is just getting started on its journey through the film festival circuit, but it's already garnering a lot of attention, not only locally, but globally. So please join me in welcoming the ever talented Satinder Kassoana.
Hey Gary, thank you so much for having me, and such a pleasure to be on your talk show. I have heard a lot about your talk show, and can be happier than that, you know. So thank you for having me.
Oh, I thank you for taking the time out and to speak with us. I appreciate that for sure, man. Before we get too crazy on the feature itself, I do want to find out a bit more about you. So like I said in the beginning, you're an Indian Canadian. I just
Mhm.
wondering when that transition to Canada came about, and were you always involved in film before you even came to Canada, or?
No, actually, I have been from very young age. I have been into folk dances and singing, folk singing primarily, and my interests were pretty big into art scene. But in India, while you're growing up, there's you don't choose your major like based on your interests. Your parents choose it because they want a job for you. It's like 1 billion people competing against each other, and it's a lots of rush there. So kids are driven to only the professions that can help them be stable and secure in financial terms. So I was very good at academics, and I did my engineering in India, and then I got selected by one of the biggest software companies in India. That was an American company, but they had offices in India. And within a year and a half, I was very good at my job. So they sent me to Switzerland to work as a lead programmer for Credit Suisse Bank. They were the clients of the company. So I fulfilled every that desire that I had as a young guy coming from a middle class family. Get a good education, get into good company, living in Switzerland, like everything was there, but I did not feel any happiness inside. I was kind of on path to self-destruction, I would say. And I hated my office. I was very good at my job, but yet I hated everybody in the office, and I didn't care. I was known to be a person who is like, he's very good at it. He's indispensable. You cannot get, job done without him, but he is not going to suck up to you, because something deep inside me was like screaming that fire me if you can. I can't do it in myself. So almost 2 years in Zurich, and then I realized that this is not what I want to be. This is not the money and the country was amazing, and what else I could want, but this is not fulfilling. So And my parents in India, you cannot just take your career decision like that. I'm leaving this, I'm taking this. So your parents have put their money, their life into it. So they have a huge say what you're gonna do. So to settle that part, I applied for a scholarship in Canadian University, Memorial University of Newfoundland, and I got a scholarship for my master's and research in engineering, computer engineering. So I I told my parents that okay, so I got all the scholarship. You don't have to put any money down there. I'm gonna go. They will pay me, and within 2 years, I will probably be working for Google or Facebook. So they were said okay. So I came to Newfoundland, and there, when I was almost done with my 60-70% of my research done, a year and a half, I realized that this surely is not what I want to do. So then I went ahead and got my program I dropped out. I just told them that terminate my program. They were like, "Are you crazy? Like, you are on scholarship. So your country, your people are spending so much money to come here only to get PR, and we are paying you on the other hand, and you're almost done with your research." But I don't know what it was. I did not know exactly what I wanted to do, but I was very sure that this is not what I want to do. So, long story short, I just cut the last thread of security that I had, and then I started doing like law jobs. I tried every profession that could be mildly interesting to me, like graphic designing, other, and learned video editing and all that. So during the same time, I started doing a um, sort of a news variety review sort of a show for an ethnic TV channel in Canada, and that's how I started learning things. And then I joined Newfoundland Independent Filmmakers Cooperative, acting classes here, there, associated myself with the people who were doing something, like in that scene. And after a couple of years of doing that, then I made my first short film, Bonjour Ji, that did very well at international film festivals, primarily South Asian film festivals. And and after that, Don't Walk Among the Dead, as just you said. And then I moved, same year, I moved to Calgary. I lived in Newfoundland for 6 years. Then I moved to Calgary, and I got a job as an editor for a leading production studio here. And since then, like, the life has changed its direction. And yeah, the recent film that we shot together last year, it's ready, and hopefully will be released in theaters here and India. I'm trying for that, hopefully in 2 months. Yeah.
2 months. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, there was definitely a lot to unpack there. Like, like that was quite the journey you were taking, and I
Yes.
do understand, like with India, like you said, especially with your parents having that
Mhm.
investment, right? Like, that must have been quite a difficult decision for you to make that break. And um,
Yeah,
I
it
don't know.
was. It was, especially with my dad. He passed away like 5 years ago, and I wish he could see that I finally made my feature film. Because he, till the time he died, he made his peace with it. But like, my mom knows now that I'm very, very, I'm much happier at doing what I love, even if I'm not making is comparable money to my earlier career. Um, I would have been a millionaire if I would have like gone into consultation, and I would have opened my own consultancy in IT, and so everything was great. But she's happy that I'm happy. She understands now my process. But sadly, my father never kind of, we were not that, kind of.
Hmm.
He was always in India. I was here, and he was always asking me, "Why did you leave that job? And why are you doing all this? It doesn't make any money to you. You're putting so much hardship on you." And I was like, "I'm happy, Dad. I love this. At least I don't hate my Mondays, and I'm not very happy on my Fridays. So that's like huge for me. Like, there are weeks when I don't even know it's Monday or Friday, because I
Right.
look up to my tomorrow, right? So, and I'm always like looking up to what I'm going to do tomorrow, and my goals are now long term rather than short term pleasures. That in my job, when I was making lots of money, I was living like Friday to Friday or weekend to weekend, right? You hate your Mondays, you're happy on Thursday, Friday night party starts. Sunday night is you feel that terrible feeling that tomorrow again I have to go to work. So if I could switch from all that to just to create this peaceful scene for myself, no matter there are months when I don't make any money and I barely survive. There has been lots of times I have sometimes made good money too, but this is like now my game, right? So I'm not like being a pawn in somebody else's game. I'm playing my game and taking my own risks,
Mhm.
and that feeling is very fulfilling. It feels like I'm living after spending a couple of years in corporate world. So yeah, I hope my dad could feel that, but I'm sure that wherever he is, he would see that.
Right. Well, and I do find that interesting with the whole idea of anybody that's outside the film industry has that vision of, well, why do you guys do it? Like, you don't make any money. Like, you're
Mhm.
you're you're not. It just seems crazy that you're doing this. But I just don't feel people understand the sense of accomplishment when you do complete something that you feel doing this job. Um, it's just, yeah. Like, again, I only feel that people that are in the industry fully understand.
I
Um,
agree, actually. The and because it's um, I personally feel that most people live in a continuous survival mode. Even if they are doing well enough, they still have a business that cannot run without they being present there. And so you're still, at first, you're trying to create a wealth, and then all your time goes to maintain that. So ultimately, you are still, even if you make lots of money, most people are still slave to their 9 to 5 thing, or they're never free. They cannot, take the vacation that they want, even if they're comfortably off, because, like, they're into a game that they complicated themselves. I personally believe that to be happy, it's definitely my personal belief, which I learned from my own experiences. Because when I was not happy in my life, I realized that there's only two places that I spend most of my time: when I go out to do some work and when I come home. And these are like my almost my time is like 50-50, 50-60% like divided in these two places. So at home, it's your family. If you like your family, you're like half done. So at least if you don't like your job, you're going to come home and relax with them and the people you love and try. If you don't have a happy family, then probably you love your work and go out and have some kind of a mental stimulation out somewhere, like create something, be proud of something that you're doing. And I have seen that most people have neither of them. They're like have everything in the world. They have big houses, big cars. They don't feel happy at home because they are not happy outside. What they are doing, what they're creating, it's meaningless. They know that once they're gone, all their things will, like, nobody will ever remember them. They didn't create anything that will be looked upon and we can give us an idea that what this man was like. He would
mhm.
have created a building. He would have created a maybe subway chain or something, franchise or something, businesses, car wash or something, but nothing to. Only a few people would give you, like, I wish I had something of my grandfather that can give me an idea what sort of person he was. What did he think about love? What do you think about other aspects of life? Luckily, I have one story that my dad wrote when he was young. It was a love story, like a romantic but sad ending story. So that is the only one thing about my dad that I know, that he had this kind of a heart when he was young. Then he became a very reserved person when he got into like taking care of the family. So
A-
I'm just creating something which is probably my kids would look at and know that their dad was like that, at least if nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, I think we as humans get caught into that trap of just repetitive, right? Um, which is what the day-to-day 9 to 5 job is just a loop of
It
the
is.
same thing, right?
Yeah.
Uh, And I have a 9 to 5 job myself as well. Plus, I'm doing the film on the
Hmm.
side, so I get that because I even sense it myself, right? I do my day job, I come home, I have my set things that I do at home afterwards, and it's just this huge cycle, and then the time just, I think that's why time flies
Yes.
by,
Yeah.
because
No,
you're just
true.
in that
That's
loop, right? So at least I can say I have the outlet of film
Yeah,
to a
you
certain
like
extent, right?
at least you are doing something that fulfills your soul, right? You
Yeah.
haven't given up on things, you are taking initiative, and that's where it all the difference is made. When we like what tomorrow is gonna look like the same or the yesterday if we do not do anything that is different than yesterday, right? So it's while it is so there's an honor in working for your family and getting them everything that they deserve. At the same time, personal fulfillment is very important because it can make you a better human, it can make you a better husband, better father, better brother, right? So I hope our kids are taught that aspect in the schools rather than like, how mobiles work or how, like everything else works. So that aspect is definitely, I wish it was more prominently taught everywhere.
The sad part, and again, I don't necessarily want to get too political, but the sad thing is, I do find that there is a huge decrease in um, the growth of this
Mhm.
kind of industry, right? The arts in general, not
Yeah.
just film or TV, but everything, right? The only thing I think that's really still kind of strong is maybe music, but
Yeah.
everything else just seems to be fading in terms of wanting to support it by folks outside the industry. Um,
Yeah, I think it's because the big players are taking everything. And governments maybe or like the industry is not getting more friendly to the independent filmmakers. So that is like one regret that I have from the industry or the governments or everything, that if you're putting $2 million into something in any province or any state, certainly there will be a number that will be paid back to you. But if you are under 500,000, then they will not pay you. With certainty, they will tell you that it is a competitive window and you're competing with other small guys,
mhm,
which is not good, because the whole point of helping and funds and grants is so that the small guys who are talented can use them and probably get into the bigger bracket. Bigger guys don't need your like money in any ways, like they already have lots of studios, have lots of money. So yeah, that part is but again, then the world has never been a fair place, right? We are still living in the best of the times where we have democratic rights and human rights. We're living in a very beautiful country, amazing. So I when I look at it, yeah, sometimes I get frustrated that I don't have anything. How I'm gonna work? How I'm gonna make this film or something. It has been really difficult with Range Rover 290, and but then I just sit back and think that it's your dream. Nobody owes you anything.
mhm.
So if you believe in it, then you put your own money down. You put your own time and put everything that you have online. And if you don't believe in it, then why else anybody else should? So I think that's how we just carry on.
Well, and I mean, a feature is no small endeavor. So when it comes to Range Road 290,
Mhm.
were you intimidated at all when you were trying to get this all started, or because
Yes,
again, it's massive,
actually,
right?
I was so anxious. Oh my God. But like where I left my journey in my earlier answer, that once I came to Canada and then I made Bonjour Ji and all that. And after that, I have been like writing feature film because ultimately everybody wants to make a feature film, right? I want to tell all the story, not the smaller segments of it. And so I met many producers, especially the Indian producers. And Indian film industry is very musical. We have lots of musicals and hopelessly romantic, unrealistic movies actually, which like have a huge impact on my like upbringing and growing up. Like if I look back on those movies now, they don't make any sense to me because I am more exposed to the Western world. I have more kind of balanced view on Eastern cultures and Western now. So, but at that time they were huge. They were like so much fun because, as I said earlier, like India is a huge country. 1 billion, 1.3 billion people struggling to survive, and they don't want to watch the realistic cinema, right? That is sadness or this or that. They want to be happy, love, hopelessly romantic, like musicals, hero winning like against every odds, one guy beating like 50 guys. So they want to see that kind of thing. So when I went to Indian film producers, they were expecting me to go the same route. They liked the story, they liked the idea, and they were happy that we could do this in Canada. But then they were like, put 6 songs here, and like we will have some comedy here. And I was like, that's not the point of it. Like this story is, if it's complete in itself, if I just write a book about it and let it out, it would work. I feel I'm that confident of that. So just to suit your format, I don't want to change or dilute my things. So that is the reason after some time I just gave up on like talking to people. I said like, no, they don't understand it, and I have only one shot, right? So if my first feature film, I don't care if it makes money or not, if it's gets so sold or not. But if anybody watches it and says that what rubbish is this, it does not make any sense. So I don't want that. That's the most unwanted response that I could have. So then I produced it myself. Like I said that okay, I will do it myself. I will put everything what I have. I loaned money from bank, and yes, it was very nervous. I locked my shoot dates, like which was coming in a month and a half, and I still did not have all my locations. But something when I look back at it, I actually feel so proud of myself that the one idea that I just took, that this time I'm gonna like literally burn down everything. I'm not stopping at anything. I don't have like this actor. I will work at. I didn't have the lead negative role guy. There was one very prominent actor from India who was ready to play that because he liked that role, but because of COVID, that time no flights were coming to Canada from India. So my choice of actors was restricted to Canada. I could not have a bigger crew. I could not have more volunteers. I was like restricted by restrictions and this and that, all the formalities of COVID. You can't shoot this, you can't do this, you have to do this, right? But like I just had one idea, and every day I just reminded myself that I'm not stopping until somebody else comes to my location and just kicks me out of there. I'm gonna keep doing that. And if I tell you truly, there were many times on the shoot when I felt that this could be the last day. So just keep yourself calm, and maybe tomorrow there will be no shoot. One of our crew members got COVID, and uh, and I said that okay, we everybody needs to get tested now. And some of my crew members were like, dude, you are making this movie with like so much difficulty. You have so many limited resources. If you test everybody, and if anybody of them like gets like turns out to be positive, you're done. And then like one of your cast is getting positive, then you're done. Like you will never be able to get everybody, because people came from Toronto, Vancouver, right? So I could not have them back again. But I was very sure in that. I said like, no, my film is very important to me, but not more important than people's lives. So everybody will get tested, and I will stop the shoot for 6 days unless we get the reports. And luckily, nobody came out positive. But yes, things like that were like nerve wracking. But I am very happy that I did the right thing. I did not put anybody's life in danger, because my friends were giving me so many, were doing me favors. They were like giving me their homes for the shoot, their cars, their locations. So I was sure that I'm not going to take my crew and actors to any place where, until I'm not sure that I'm not putting anybody else's family in risk. So yeah, so it is nervous. It is a huge endeavor, but but I'm so happy that people from Calgary, like yourself, and when I asked for help, they came and helped me, and that's how this film was possible. Like I made some good friends during this film. You one of them, and Julian Black Antelope. He did my "Don't Walk Among the Dead" film. He was lead character there, and I share very good friendship with him since then. And before the film, I made the film. I met him. We went out for a dinner, and I asked him, Julian, like this is the money that I have. I want to make a feature film. You have already made like two, three in last 2, 3 years. Tell me what I need to do. And he said that, Sundar, if you could get into big trouble with, you don't have the enough money to complete it. And I told him the same thing. I said, I'm not stopping. but help me to tell me, don't do this, don't do this. So he kind of was the first person who literally walked me through the contracts. This sort of a contract you have to make, do this, hire that guy. He recommended people. All the production of Don't Walk Among the Dead, he did it himself without any charge. Like, he's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
Always I kind of ask his help. So yeah, it was a big task, but I realized that when you ask for help, people help you. So you have to start somewhere, and you have to take the risk. There's no other way to get things done.
I do find there's actually a really good community locally as well for film,
Yes, it
right?
is. It
Um,
is.
everybody's for the most part willing to help. Um,
Yeah, they are always.
I just wanted to pop this comment up here. Just wanted to give you kudos for testing
Oh,
people. So
thing is, he's another friend.
yeah, he's a good fella.
He is amazing. I always watch his short films. He has worked in my friend's short film, Amir's film.
Oh
It's
yes, yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. One day, Cengiz, with you too.
And of course he hosts the show once in a while, so you know.
Yeah, he's very funny. Actually, I watch his comics sketches. Sometimes he posts them.
Oh yeah, we did a short film together. It was a comedy, and he, although I had script stuff written, he
Uh,
pretty much did all the ad lib himself. So
oh yeah, that's great.
oh, and he says he's gonna hold you to that. So
Yeah, take a screenshot of this.
exactly right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm still kind of curious about some of the journey when it comes to the film.
Mhm.
I mean, a kudos for you for being relentless in terms of trying to drive it forward, get it completed. Um, especially when it comes, with you using your own finances and
Mhm.
everything else. Like I had tons of anxiety for my 10-minute short film. I can't even imagine for a feature.
Mhm.
And I always find, because you were wearing like all the hats. You were wearing
Yeah.
the director hat, the producer hat, the actor hat, the editor hat
Yes.
for everything. So man, I don't even know how you dealt with the stress, to be honest.
Uh, I would say that, like, when I started the film, okay, writing, you already have done writing before you kind of think that you're going to go ahead with that, right? So writing part was done. And then the other parts of my job was primarily to protect that writing. That as because when you have limited resources, you're trying to also do something that is not the conventional stuff in your segment of industry, like Punjabi film industry, especially. Then, like, everybody will come and suggest you to do the other ways, right? But like, as I said, once you're done with the writing, then your primary job is to protect that idea, protect that writing, and execute it as close as closest to the your original work. And in my case, I would say, because I loved the idea, I loved my characters, and there was something that was like, okay, I'm gonna like take another route to tell you another thing right here. When Bonjour Ji won the Best Short Film Award at International Film Festival South Asia, that was the first award that it won. Uh, there was a filmmaker who is a very my one of my favorites. He made like international movies based on Indian stories with the best actors that we have. Amazing person, like in real life. He's like an elder brother to me now. And I was so excited with Bonjour Ji that, okay, the film worked and all that, and now I'm gonna like take the same idea, I will expand it to feature film, and I will like fucking win the world. So that was my idea. I was bursting with like joy and this childish enthusiasm. And during the film festivals, I told him that. So he said, he's a very calm person. He said that, Satinder, let the story boil inside you, or like, whatever, my English is a little bit tight there, and let it manifest itself. When it's strong enough, it will force you to tell it. And I did not understand that line that day. But when I was done writing this film, it actually was forcing itself to come out. Like I was sleeping when I was doing. I wrote this as a short film first. It was in English. Then I liked the idea. Then all the characters in the short film were taking their own backstories, their own ambition. So it was like leading me to, and I didn't know how it's going to end. Literally, before I wrote the end, I did not know how it's going to end. So it really took its own journey, and once I believed in it, then everything else was just like manifesting, I would say. It seems like very cliche, but actually that there, I who don't have any other way to, like everybody was helpful, and during the toughest times I shot it, and yet it went great. While I was editing it, it was a very hard phase. Like it took me a year to edit it because I had lots of bad takes, bad footage, everything, and mismanaged stuff. I was like, whatever the nightmare you can imagine on indie film, and you have only one person team for post production. And then I would hire somebody, ask somebody, can I hire you for sound work or this work? And then they give me a price. And then I hired them a cheaper guy, and then I had to discard their work and do it myself. Sometimes I cannot hire a regular industry person. And then I decided that, okay, I have to 2 months. It will be cheaper for me if I put my own 2 months time into this. So I will just sit and do it with my own time and my own, So I was like, but because the base was there, the soul was there. So I just had to build every body part. So I knew the soul is intact. I shot it the way I wrote it, and I love it. And I have the rough edit, and it works. So now I have to. So yeah, that kept me going. It was hard, but um, there was no other, like there was no plan B. I knew that I will complete it, and I there was like many times when I did not touch my computer for a week or 15 days. I was like, fuck, I don't want to deal with that thing again. It's like I hate it when I look at that sort of a footage and what I do with it. It's like problem solving, you couldn't get this location, how you gonna get that effect so that the story still knows that you went to that location, or you did not get a jail exterior. You cannot shoot around a jail. You cannot take a drone shot of it. So how are you gonna deal with that? So yeah, it was lots of problem solving, but because there was intent and the soul was there, so I could keep going on. And yeah, and another thing, for all filmmakers, I can say this, that yes, financially it's tough. And there was one lucky thing for me was, I had my own business in 2019, which kind of made me good amount of money. So I had some money to spare for the film while I could still manage to pay my bills. So I was very lucky with that. So I won't say that I was like living on, kind of peanuts for 2 years. No, I kept my expenses very, uh, low, and I had some reserves to take care of my family. With, of course, my wife also works, so we were good there. And but I also made sure that even your family, nobody should pay the price of your dreams. If you don't have it in you, then you probably, gonna work hard and make some money so that the other people do not, because there's a 99% chance that whatever you make, you're gonna fail. It's your first film, right? And that possibility is always there. So why other people, should, if they want to, that's well and good, but you should not impose it on them. Like my family is very sporty, but still I make it a point that whatever the shenanigans that I have apart from my regular stuff, I'm in charge of that. So I will manage it. I will do it so that nobody bothers me that what I'm doing in my basement. They know that it's like our stuff is safe.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of it, does anybody else in your family kind of want to follow in your footsteps at this point, or?
I have two kids. They're very young right now, like they're 11 and 6, and they both have artistic interests. One is the little one is an amazing painter, or he draws amazing, and the other one is very good reader. So I hope if I continue on my path and then they observe me more. Right now they haven't observed me more much doing films because I'm in my basement. Like this is like my man cave, right? So nobody usually comes here. And they haven't been seen me shooting anything. So for them, daddy just goes out, do something, and comes home, right? But as they're gonna grow older and hopefully they'll see me doing more of these stuff, then definitely it I want them to, also make their own decisions. Like I don't want to do the same. Like my parents didn't had a choice, but I think I have a choice. So I want to explore. I take them to different classes, painting class, swimming classes. I just want to find out where their interest lies, and probably we will kind of help them go into that direction, whichever
Yeah,
makes them happy.
yeah, and I honestly I think that's a great approach as well. Yeah, we try to do the same with our kids. So
Yeah, if they listen.
right.
Yeah.
I definitely want to touch more on you know where you want the film to go and stuff. But before we get there, I would like to show the trailer, just so
Awesome.
people
Yeah, let's
can have
watch
a
it.
watch. I am just going to say for the people that are going to be listening to the podcast later, um, it is in a lot of it is in Punjabi right now. The trailer, it is subtitled, so you might not get the gist
Yeah.
if you're English speaking and listening in. So just wanted to
Expand
put that
your
out there.
expand your circle, people. How long are you
Exactly.
gonna go
Yeah.
watch only the English trailers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we go. Let's have a watch of this.
ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਲਾਸ ਤਾਂ ਕਾਲਾ ਭੁੱਲ ਸਕਦਾ ਸੀ ਪਰ ਮੁਖਬਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹ ਮੈਂ ਉਸ ਦਿਨ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਲਾ ਲਿਆ ਸੀ ਜੌਲ ਮਰਡਰ ਦੇ 3 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੈਂ ਕਾਲੇ ਦਾ ਮਾਲ ਲਿਜਾਂਦਾ ਫੜਿਆ ਗਿਆ 3 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਸਜ਼ਾ ਹੋਈ ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਿਆ ਆਖਰ ਵਫਾਦਾਰੀ ਵੀ ਕੁਝ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਲੌੜਾ ਵਫਾਦਾਰੀ
You become the prosecution's main witness and testify against Nazir Singh, aka Kalabai, in the Johal murder case. In return, we'll let you walk as a free man, somewhere safe and secure.
I need a day to finish some businesses before I vanish. ਹੁਣ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਕਿਉਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਸੀ ਸਤਪਾਲ ਔਲਖ ਦਾ ਫਾਰਮ ਹਾਊਸ ਲੁੱਟਣਾ ਸੀ
What? Pay attention. I'm telling you, he washes more money than anybody else does around here.
ਕਾਲੇ ਦਾ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਕਰਨਾ ਸੀ ਤੇ
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਟਿਪ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੀਕਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਕੋਲੇ ਕੋਈ ਵਿਟਨੈਸ ਹੈ ਜੌਲ ਮਰਡਰ ਕੇਸ 'ਚ ਬਾਈ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਸਮਰ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਜਾਵੇ
ਭੈਣ ਦੀ ਲੰਨ ਤੇਰੇ ਭਾਈ ਦੀ ਕਮਲ ਨੂੰ ਆਖਰੀ ਵਾਰ ਮਿਲਣਾ ਸੀ
ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਫਿਰ ਇਹੀ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ
ਲਾਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ
ਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਖਾਲੀ ਹਾਲ ਨਾ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਸੀ ਤੂੰ ਗੱਦਾਰਾ ਭੈਣ ਚੋਦਾ ਰਿਸਕ ਲਿਆ ਸੀ ਰੌਲਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦਾ ਹੀ ਹੋਇਆ ਨਾ ਜਿਹਨੇ ਰਿਸਕ ਲਿਆ
ਫੋਟੋ ਭੇਜ
ਭੇਜਦੀ ਆ ਰੂਮ 'ਚ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਕੇ ਖਿੱਚਦੀ ਆ
ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਤਾਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੀ ਸੀ ਤੇਰੀ ਇਹ ਫੋਟੋ ਮੇਰੀ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਫੇਵਰੇਟ ਹੈ ਪਤਾ
ਕਿਉਂ
ਅਮਨ ਮੂਮੈਂਟ
ਕਾਂ ਇਹ ਸੋਚ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਆਲਣਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਹੈ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਬਾਲਕਨੀ ਵਾਈਫ ਦੀ ਸੀ ਚੋਗਾ ਉਹਦਾ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਬਰਡ ਹਾਊਸ ਵੀ ਉਹਦਾ ਸੀ
ਮੇਰਾ ਪਲਾਨ ਜੀਤੇ ਦੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਤੋਂ ਬਿਨਾਂ ਪੂਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਸੀ ਪਰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਇਹ ਪੱਕਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੀ ਜਾਂ ਕਾਲੇ ਦੇ
Yay!
I got to say, for the sole budgets and everything, that looked amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, even I'm watching this after like 3 4 weeks. Yeah, it looks amazing, man.
Yeah, no, it looks. There's no way you would know that. Well, in my opinion, anyway, that you would know that's like a
It's not a
one
big budget
man
movie.
independent movie.
No, the film's screening went very well at International Film Festival South Asia, Toronto, which was in August. And I saw that the people's feedback and review of the film, people who just watched the film, they came out of the theater, and it was amazing. It was like so much. It's beyond my expectations. They loved the film. They were saying so many nice things about it. And I had another screening in Calgary, and the same reaction was that day. And this was for my actually close friends, volunteers, actors, their families, that this screening was primarily for them because I wanted to show them before anybody else the film as a token of appreciation to them. And these are like my very good friends. They don't hold back when they want to criticize me, and they like, dude, we like this. We never thought you would make a good film like this. I said like, yeah, thank you. Yeah, and they
Yeah,
helped me a lot on this.
no, absolutely. Yeah, I'm kind of speechless, to be honest. I thought it was great. I noticed Chingaze threw up a couple messages here, so I'm just gonna. Obviously, he said nice work. He really
Thank you,
enjoyed that,
Chingiz.
and he wanted to give a shout out to Troy Greenwood and
Yes,
Stuart Bentley.
Troy, Troy, Stuart, Trevor, Gary, and who else? Like from the English side. Yeah, I think these 4 5 people are they're the English speaking roles. And I must say that I'm so impressed with all of you. Like your scene, Gary and Trevor's. Stewart's, we already have seen him in the trailer. Troy, we saw a bit of him, and yeah, and everybody did a phenomenal job. Like I am used to work with actors who need a lot of work because they are not actors. I can't afford actors, right? Usually for the short films and all. This feature film, I had some professional actors, and yet I had lots of people who needed some training or lots of training actually. And when I get an actor who comes to set with his lines done, everything, and he has the right questions, and they deliver, it is such a pleasure and actually relief that, oh, this is like something went even like beyond my own uh, expectations. So thank you to you, Gary, for that. Actually, you guys were amazing. I can't wait. The people should see your work.
Yeah, and I'm going to publicly say that I did miss out on the cast and crew viewing, which I'm very upset about. So still kicking myself for that one.
Now we're gonna have
Um,
it soon, man. Yeah.
Perfect. And Chingiz did have another question as well, which was,
Mhm.
how much acting did you do in it?
How much acting did I do in it? I played the lead negative role, as I mentioned earlier. That the very famous actor who was supposed to play this role could not come to Canada because of the COVID. The flights were not coming and all. So I and the same as I mentioned earlier, I was not stopping at anything. So I said like I am a trained actor. I took Company of Rogues. I have been like another acting classes, Newfoundland, all that. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna play it then myself. And because I was already doing so much work behind the camera, I didn't want to act actually primarily. But then again, if nobody's there, then I'm gonna jump up to it and I'm gonna do it. So yeah, I played that lead role, and now actually I'm loving it. I will probably act more.
Well, I mean, probably sounds like I'm just blowing sunshine up your butt, but I thought, at least the clips I saw, I thought you did an amazing job. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Yes, definitely.
Thank you very much. Actually, I appreciate that. Yeah,
Oh,
acting is it's amazing. It's a um, like I never realized until I saw myself on the screen that okay, you have done something. And like earlier, I was just thinking that this film would be like something that would be left behind me once I'm gone. And now being actually a visual part of that same story is even better. That now you are also on the screen. So like you can get old, but this is gonna stay just like that. So I paint a lot in the movie. All the paintings that you see, I that the my paintings, like I painted
Okay.
them. And somehow I don't know, I feel that, like, it's my belief that if we normally we consume a lot, we watch like Netflix, everything we're watching, listening, watching, eating. So consuming, we're not creating. So whenever I get a chance to create something and it's done, it has taken its shape, after that I don't own it, it's like its own identity now. And that is a very good feeling, that somehow you are leaving something behind, and which some people would like and appreciate. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a good feeling. Yeah.
absolutely. And so now that you're making the festival run, I don't
Mhm.
know how long you plan on keeping it running through there.
Um, on that, I'm not gonna go to lots of festivals with this, because when I made it, my primarily um, goal was uh, to show it to as many people as possible. Festivals, while they're good for giving you this idea that yes, you are a good filmmaker, yes, you have a voice, and they build a lot of self confidence in you. Yet they are limited to a certain kind of audience, festival audience. They're not the regular public, you know. So last my films did well at international film festivals, but yet nobody at large knew my name and saw my work, or kind of nothing like that happened, because the film went to film festivals and then it just was there. So this time I want to make to bring the film to its primary audience, that we definitely want to reach more eyeballs. So this festival was a test. I wanted to go there, I wanted to see the film on a big screen with a full audience, and I wanted to see what's their reaction. Will this movie work in theater or not? And I'm 100% sure that this will work, because I've seen their reaction. There are 2 3 screenings, and that was the only thing that I wanted from film festivals. So we probably will go to 1 or 2 another more festivals, but I'm more keen on releasing this within like next 2 months, maybe earlier. Even if I have to just put the movie on YouTube, I seriously don't care, because I want to show what we have made here. I just want this story to be out and just find its own audience. I know financially probably that won't be very wise decisions. People have advised me to go to more festivals and do this, but I seriously don't want to wait. I want to start the next one, which I'm probably writing at this time. So yeah, that's the plan.
Okay. Have you like, do you have a theatrical goal, like locations that you want to
Yes.
show it? Okay.
Yes. So currently, I'm trying to release the film first in Canada. We have 5 major cities that have good amount of Punjabi population, and we're going to release it in those 5 cities: Toronto, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Winnipeg. 3 to 4 screens every city, and that will be kind of a limited or moderate size of release for any Punjabi film in Canada, and that's enough for me. And at the same time, if I can arrange the funds, which I'm like looking for private investors or co-producers, if somebody wants to come on board, um, that's like, then comes the India. Then we have the Punjab province, the northern part, and there we are going into like maybe 30 cities. So, and
Okay.
that's the plan. But again, it's like, still, I will be very honest with you, it's very hard to raise money, because everybody is like you know for new team, new actors, new faces, nobody wants to risk their money on that. But I just tell them that if you want to put your foot into the production and film production, this is the best deal, because you're just coming like one step ahead of the final stop of the film. Like it was difficult to push a train that was like still, it was not moving. I made that myself. So now the train is already moving. So if you can get on the train right now, it's like the safest best bet, right?
Mhm.
So you already have a tested product, reviewed and had screened, and and everybody has good words about it. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. That's my sales pitch, actually. That's what I'm like through your show. I'm like throwing it everywhere.
So anybody
But if I,
listening or watch it later,
yeah, right. So if I don't get the money, even then it's fine. Like I will just go to a couple of online platforms in India primarily, non-exclusively, and I will try to put it on as many platforms as I can, regardless of the money that I make. I wish I make money and I recoup my funds, but to me, it feels like it's a long-term investment. I if I get more work from after this film, that is like the most likely outcome of all this. And if I make another film, maybe one day somebody will come and buy my first film too. So
right?
it's a lot of patience.
And
Long.
have you thought about trying to push it to like the Netflixes or the Amazons or anything like that? Or
I'm trying, but Netflix does not work with the unsolicited projects.
not
They
yet?
have these agents and all that, and I'm trying to find contact. Honestly, I haven't found anybody from Netflix Canada yet. India Prime, I'm trying to get into that, but they also are for the independent films, they are not buying them anymore. They used to be, Prime was very friendly for independent filmmakers because you can upload your movie and pay-per-view, and they will pay you. And now they have reduced that to like almost nothing. But yet again, as I said, that money will come, but maybe in longer return. Right now, I just want this film to be seen, to reach where it belongs. That's all.
Okay. And amazingly enough, we're running up to the hour mark here.
I'm
So
I'm okay with that if you are. We didn't even realize it's almost an hour, right?
I know it's crazy, which is good, right? It means we had a good
Yeah, it
conversation.
is amazing, man. I'm loving it. So
So the question I do want to ask you though is, so based on this film, you kind of made the comment that what might come out of this is you get more work.
mhm.
Um, what is your preferred path, I guess? If you were
Prefer.
to get more work out of this, would your direction be more on the directing side, producing, acting?
Okay, so as I said, after I acted in the film, I am like loving acting part a lot, and and that is the easier work to get to because people like your acting. They will say, okay, so we have this role, you come and play it, right? Maybe your job is like 1 week's job or 2 weeks job. So acting, while it is very refreshing, it is also, I think, less taxing on time. Maximum if you're playing a lead. I played actually a lead role in one of the mockumentaries that I got chosen for into LA last year, and that will be released on. It's in English actually. It's called The Plaza. I'm playing an Indian turban guy who owns the plaza, and other cultures they have also the shops in the same plaza. They're like just like Office. It's like a mockumentary, sort of a comic documentary. So yeah, and I was there for 1 month, and I was done with it. Right. Direction is like if I write anything myself, that I'm gonna direct myself. If other than that, if anybody else wants to work, get me as an actor, yeah, I would love that because it's fun to follow somebody else's lead and to see what they want to create or how their character is like challenging you. So yeah, that will be amazing. But yes,
Yeah,
I will, whatever I write, I'm gonna direct. That will
and that makes sense too. I tried that once though, and it just it didn't really work out well for me directing wise. So I haven't done it since. But it does make sense in the grand scheme of it that if you write it, you direct it, just because you have that vision in your head, you know what you're
yes.
wanting to put out, right? So it does make
Right.
sense. I'm not sure about this comment or who it's from or anything like that, or but I'll throw it up here. I don't even know if it pertains to you. Or
This is what I sponsored the bold haircut. I hope it's like all right. Yeah. What if I sponsor the bald haircut? I think that was the question. You forgot if in between. Yeah, man, dude, anything. Like I would love to take your money. you know, and I'm proud of this, so much.
Oh yeah, I'm actually heading that way. I think. I actually shaved my head for the longest time. It wasn't until I actually started acting that I started growing it back out.
You know what
And
I joke with my friends, Gary, that because my beard is, almost like 70% of it's gray, I dye my beard. My mother was like very like I was like with the gray, lots of gray beard, and my mother, Indian parents, right? Like you are still young, you should dye it. Like after 10 years, when you will be old, or then you stop dyeing it. Right now, you have to dye it. I was like, okay, for you, I will start dyeing it again. So I'm dyeing my beard now. But I tell my friends that dudes, like you guys gonna change a little by little, in next 20 years. I'm gonna stay the same. I have lost what you could lose, I already lost, like when I was like 29. And then I
right,
also got my beard like almost gray when I was like 33 or something. So now I'm like already like covered everything. So I'm like time proof now.
yeah, yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
I know I should start doing the same. Actually, like this is just getting more and more gray here. So yeah,
Sometimes I leave it, a couple of weeks I don't like dye it. Then I again like now I take it as like my t-shirt or my shirt. If I want to put on the color or if I don't want to put on the color. So sometimes I like it, sometimes I leave it. So yeah.
gotcha. There was a little bit of a clarification on that last comment. They said,
Mhm.
"Sorry, what inspired the bold haircut?"
Oh, what inspired the bald haircut? Actually, it's the nature that's inspired this bald haircut. Because as I said, I was losing my hair. Maybe my last job, the first, if you heard what I said initially about my introduction, when I was into IT, when I was in Switzerland and all. Yeah, I was making lots of money, but I was stressed. I didn't like there was no happiness in my life. There was like parties and all that, but nothing deep down happy. So that was the time when I started losing my hair at a very alarming rate. So from a very thick head of hair, I was like visibly receding hairline within like year and a half. I have never seen anybody's hair go that fast. That was me. And then I spent 3 to 4 years like struggling with hiding it with a cap or with. I also wore a wig one time because again my mother like, no, you get a wig, like you will look good in that. I said like okay. So I for her I just put on a wig, and for 1 week I was like the happiest guy in the town. Like I was so funny, like full head of hair, and it's also like the Hollywood with Brad Pitt sort of. And then one day, one guy I was talking to, while he was talking to me, he looked here at the hairline of my, so he saw my wig. And that time I felt so embarrassed, and like like somebody stripped off my clothes. And then I realized that whatever the hell is it, I'm gonna now be whatever I am. So I kind of in that moment I just made my peace with it. I shaved it, and the beard came later actually. So, and now everybody tells me that it suits me and it looks good. And honestly, I also fell in love with, after that, I made my peace with whatever it was. And to be very honest with you, I don't even recall my own image with hair. Like,
Okay.
that when you're talking, that, how do you look, right? So this is what is my internal image of me now. I don't even have, if I look at my old pictures, I see myself with hair. That seems like another lifetime or something. Like that doesn't seem like me to me anymore. So yeah, when you make a peace with your thing, however you look, that confidence comes back on your face, and then people don't look at whatever else is. They just look here,
Yeah.
and that's when you feel good about everything. And they also feel that confidence, and they feel good about you too.
Yeah. No, I think that's an absolutely fair statement.
Yeah.
Um, there, there is another comment here. Did you know South Africa has the largest Indian population outside of India? Hmm.
Actually, that makes sense. That's something new. I should make a note of it. And if I can get money to get cover some of the countries, I will definitely try South Africa. Yes, I know Kenya. Nigeria. Those are some countries where a large amount of Punjabi population, like they're the third generation now. But yes, we have some Indian diaspora over there. Thank you for the tip. I will keep that in mind.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, you know what? I think on that note, I think we will kind of wrap it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to ask you one more question.
Absolutely.
Because I know, for example, I even put myself in this boat a little bit.
Mhm.
For folks that are hesitant to make
Mhm.
that leap of leaving, like yourself, leaving that uh, computer engineering
Behind.
completely, making that huge leap to just
Yeah.
focus on film.
Mhm.
Um, what advice would you give somebody that's really struggling to make that decision?
Okay, I would say that, as I mentioned earlier, that first of all, we all need to realize this, that this is a dream or a calling that we feel. And most of the times, when you haven't done anything in that field, you are not sure that is it for you or not, or are you just like, because I meet many people, especially actors, young actors, and they want to act in a film because they want to reach where the red carpets are, or the parties are, or the like fame is. And I tell them that that is the destination, and probably that will come eventually. But to reach there, there's lots of hard path, and it's a hard process of blood and sweat. If you like that process of putting your blood and sweat and yet ready to do it all over again, then you are into right place. Because if your process, if your journey is painful, no matter how beautiful the destination could be, it doesn't matter. Because you right now, even if I'm struggling, I'm a newcomer, I'm a novice, I'm independent, whatever label I put on myself, I'm loving it, I'm enjoying it. It is lots of hard work, lots of nerve-wracking things, lots of the times you have to solve problems like right there. But if you ask me, will you do it all over again, I would say hell yes, I will. So if you like the process, then it is for you. Otherwise, there's no shame in saying that as I said in my interview earlier, that I tried everything that was interesting to me. I did not know that I want to make films. I tried graphic designing, which is now helpful to me because I design all the graphics of my film, posters, logos, everything. That's me, and I do it. And other than that, like I did TV. Okay, I did interviews with people. Whatever was like feeling interesting to me, I kept on doing it. And then I found out that this is not for me, this is not for me, this is not. So you rule out all the things one by one. And then you're stuck with one thing that you 100% know that, yes, this is what I can do it even without money. So first you need to find out that is it really for you before you actually lose everything in it. And then find out that this was not even for me, right? Once you find that, then you need to commit to it in the education. Education is not only, I would say the colleges are very overrated, don't go there. Most of the stuff that I learned is from YouTube. So it's already there. Watch more videos, note down how much hours you're putting in your passion. If you note down every activity that you do for a week and see how many hours did you put into filmmaking, education, even if you watched a video of Tarantino talking about film, but did any of that time went into your dream project? If not, then you're just fooling yourself, you're not going to go anywhere. But if you have some certain number of time going in there, you are on the right path. And third and last thing is, nobody owes you anything. It's your dream, it's your passion. Your family, your spouse, your kids, your parents, nobody owes you. So it's your thing. First of all, you need to make sure that you don't put your burden of your dreams on them. You arrange everything yourself, and do not risk your house for this. Do not risk your kids' future for this. Do it in smaller steps if you cannot do that. I did smaller films and then I made some money and then I stopped and then I put my own money into that. So I knew that even if the film breaks, does not complete, I will not be like, my family won't be thrown out of my house. So yes, please. So again, keep everybody safe, and then they respect you because you're not putting their lives into danger because of your passion. So yeah, it's a simple process. Enjoy the process. Put your time into it. Learn it, and and then put your own foot down and your own money too. If you're not willing to do any of these, then probably it's not going to work out. So that's my advice.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you for that. I think that's a great way to end the show, honestly. So
Awesome, man. So
thanks for
first of
that.
all, I want to thank you again that you helped me on this film, Gary. I really, really, that's so kind of you, and I loved working with you. And I can't wait to show you the film one day. Soon we're gonna watch it together. And thanks for having me here. This is like, I would say, after the film, maybe my first or second interview, and this is like a conversation, and I really, really enjoyed it so much. At any time you don't find anybody else, get me on.
Perfect. I'll keep that in mind.
All right,
Um,
then.
no, and I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me today and chatting about your film and film in general.
It's fun.
There was a lot of good stuff in there. I think a lot of good points and stuff that might actually help somebody as well. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you too for having me here.
And I think that so we'll kind of end it there. Tune in next week as well. We have Adam. Oh my goodness, Adam Scorgi, who's a documentary producer on deck here. So tune in next week for that. That should be a great show. I think he's currently working on a documentary on Dolph Lundgren, so that should be pretty interesting. So tune in next week for that. Thanks everybody for joining me again this week, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye, everyone.